welcome to The Sigma Show, episode 43. It's me, your host, Sigma. Before I let you know who I'm joined by, though, real quick, I'm going to go over what our topics are. First up, Disney Plus has basically announced that they'll have a bunch of Asian and Pacific targeted content coming to Disney Plus over the next 2 years. Basically, that means anime. So we'll be talking about kind of if that excites us or not. Next up, Nintendo has finally outlined the pricing for their new Switch online expansion pack. Yeah, we'll get into that because
I think you and I disagree on that. So that's
probably. Yeah. But I have some concerns at least. Yeah. And next up after that, some concerning news. EA Sports is apparently considering splitting ways with the FIFA license, and it's for a very interesting reason that we'll get into, we'll talk about. And finally, DC Fandom was just yesterday, I want to say. Like, they showed off a bunch of new trailers, some new stuff in terms of like TV, movies, and video games. So we'll get into kind of what was most exciting about that. And here to talk with me about these topics are Ash Redux.
That's me. What's up, everybody? I'm eating, I'm sorry.
As well as Marty Sleva. What's up?
Is Ash eating like morning noodles? What's going on?
Right, yeah. You like morning, cup ramen?
Morning ramen.
Breakfast ramen.
I mean, there tend to be eggs in it, so
that's true. If you put eggs in something, it could just become like, "Oh, this is my morning potato salad."
To me, the breakfast of champions is either reheated pizza from the previous day, or ramen. So, breakfast of champions here, folks. Don't knock it till you try it.
Wow.
Honey Money said just ate ramen, but it's 5 p.m. there, so that's
yeah, that seems okay. That seems less crazy than what Ash is doing right now. Lampy saying Ash is very quiet. Let me see if I can raise his volume. Oh yeah, Ash is actually a little lower than everybody else for some reason. But here you go. It's fixed.
Casey's you guys can see the number. For those 45 minutes.
He docked you a couple levels after you lied about that anime trailer.
Absolutely. I would do the same.
Right.
No judgment.
But let's jump into our first update rather than our actual topic. We've been kind of keeping tabs on the Activision Blizzard stuff, and most recently there have been some complications that have arisen based on the folks involved in filing a lawsuit. If you remember, the DFEH, right? Is that what they're referred to?
Yeah.
Their investigation into the Activision Blizzard thing apparently shares some common attorneys with the EEOC, like the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, who also recently filed a lawsuit and reached a settlement of $18 million. And because of this, apparently some of the information used from the DFEH lawsuit was apparently used in the EEOC lawsuit. And they're saying because they have common attorneys, they cannot be, I guess, prosecuted for some of those same things from the DFEH because the EEOC has already basically done that.
Yeah.
So not only are they saying, okay, there's a conflict of interest here, they're saying because of this conflict of interest, even if they change out those common attorneys, we don't, like, there's already something wrong here. We don't want them to be able to go forward with their lawsuit. So they're essentially trying to find a backdoor out of any repercussions.
This whole thing.
Right, exactly. So, like, weirdly to me, this seems sort of planned. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm getting a conspiracy theory, but I don't know. What do you guys feel? Because this seems very conspicuous to me.
I mean, so this is coming on the heels. The last big thing was that Activision agreed to an $18 million settlement, which is like a joke amount of money in Activision terms.
Chump change for them.
Yeah, like an absolute joke amount of money. And so it almost feels like if that felt like a slap on the face to like the very real and very serious problems that aren't just it's not just Activision being accused of, but it's like clear that a lot of this is true based on the hundreds of voices who have come up and you know, protests and walkouts at Blizzard and everything. And so if it didn't seem bad enough that they were trying to get their way out with that tiny slap on the wrist amount, this feels like them just trying to use our broken legal system in order to get out of anything and any repercussions whatsoever. Like, meanwhile, you know, the guys at the top are still having their, you know, $50 million bonuses for the year, which is just, you know, gross.
Yeah, it seems super shady. Ash, did you have any take on this particular situation?
Yes, I do. Start my timer. All right, so I'm joking. My take won't be long of this. First off, and I mean this in the most respectful way possible, honestly, because actual people were, I mean, there were different things for different cases, but people were hurt in a general sense because of what went down in with Activision Blizzard and within their company walls and such. At the same time, and again, respectfully, I am sick and tired of hearing about Activision Blizzard and everything that's going on with Activision Blizzard. And by that, I mostly mean just hearing like, today Activision Blizzard did, and any out they're trying to find or whatever. I'm like, just suck it up, take the L, and move on, please. That's all. That's really all I got. I just want them to take the L, admit what happened, and move, and just make it right, whatever it takes. That's
like, it's exhausting how much they're pushing against kind of rectifying the wrong they did.
Yeah.
It's just
like rather than own up to it, they're basically just being a big faceless, soulless corporation and trying to just find a way out.
Right. And again, I understand from a money point, and because at the end of the day, that's what they're focusing on is a money point. I'm sure is that they don't want to do things that would, to them, make it feel like, oh, we're gonna lose a bunch of money. This XYZ is gonna happen. But I'm just like, just suck it up. Take the L, excuse me, morning burps, because I'm eating my morning ramen, breakfast of champions. But just suck it up, take the L. Compensate the people whatever you can. That's obviously not enough. You still have to change the culture. But I mean, people should still at least get some sort of compensation in my mind. So something. But, take care of your employees that left because of it, people who were hurt because of it, the families, and then your current employees and those who are to hopefully come later. If you guys actually change the culture, just focus on that, move on. You still have a bunch of big titles. People will keep buying your games. It's not going to stop. So just take the L now and make it better. So at least I won't feel guilty because I will be playing Call of Duty Vanguard when it comes out. But yes, the point is just do that. Thank you. That's my thing. Don't question me on my Call of Duty Vanguard. I just got back into Call of Duty like 2 years ago.
You'll probably be questioned, just not by me right in this moment.
Leave me alone.
But a couple crazy things are, I just went to get gas at a Quick Trip the other day, and on the little, they have like the little TV, like when you're pumping gas, and they'll just serve you an ad, and the ad was an update on this trial, which like if that's being served just at a gas station, like so clearly like this is kind of a big deal in terms of not just our space but in general. So like it's those kind of ads that are served like in the back of a taxi and that kind of thing, but that's usually like the most general news you can imagine. So I do think Activision Blizzard is one of the rare game developers that the name sort of holds weight even outside of our circles. And so I think that's interesting. The other thing is I think I don't know if it's just me or maybe it's just because, at The Escapist, like we've kind of pumped the brakes on covering Activision Blizzard outside of this story, but also I don't know how much coverage we were doing beforehand, but it feels like
we weren't really big on that.
It feels like Diablo 2 came and went very quickly. Like I don't really know anyone who was playing it. I didn't play it, which is weird because in high school, or college, I guess I played a ton of Diablo 2. High school, I think. I played a ton of it, and so I definitely thought I would have jumped back into it, and I didn't protest not buy it. I just didn't. I don't know. I just
weren't even thinking about it.
Slipped my mind, and then I haven't really had the urge to go back to it. And I am curious. It feels like, Vanguard and even to another extent, Battlefield had a lot of their lunch got eaten by Halo, because I think the Halo beta was so incredibly positively received. And Battlefield didn't have that, and Call of Duty definitely didn't have that in the beta. So I'm curious to see.
I didn't even know there was a Call of Duty beta.
Yeah, I was in.
And it's still gonna, it's Call of Duty's still gonna sell fine, and I don't know, everything's gonna be fine. That game's gonna still be the best selling game of the year, and whatever. But it is just interesting to see if I don't know if this is actually having a tangible impact on it. And the same thing with Overwatch. No, I don't know. All the people I knew who used to play Overwatch don't anymore.
Yeah, I've been super lukewarm. Like the folks in the open party community, there's a very strong core fan base for Overwatch. Like they maybe took a couple of weeks off, like when the stuff was at a fever pitch, but then they went back. So they still play on a regular basis. But I used to play with them, and I've legit fallen off and almost have zero excitement for Overwatch 2 in recent weeks and months because, one, they keep announcing stuff I don't like they changed the 6v6 to 5v5 for some reason.
Kind of arbitrarily.
Jeff Kaplan left, possibly because he knew shit was going to hit the fan with this lawsuit.
He was synonymous with Overwatch. Like he was, he was the face of Overwatch.
Yeah, pretty much. So I don't know. Yeah, it does seem like on top of this, there's just a lot of lethargy happening at those studios, and I don't know. Maybe they're somehow connected, maybe psychically. I don't know. Just the corporate culture seems to be suffering.
Yeah, it's just funny because it seemed like for a long time, Activision had those core pillars that were too big to fail, and I think Call of Duty still is, but I think Final Fantasy 14 has taken so much of WoW's lunch. I know, people I knew who played WoW religiously are now over to Final Fantasy 14, and that's we just got the news story that's become the best-selling and most profitable Final Fantasy game ever, which is incredible after the awful launch it had, and how many millions of dollars it lost Square right at the start, and then turning around back like that. Yeah. So
it really did bounce back.
Yeah, I think you can look at that story and say any series can come back from any level of bad publicity, but I am curious to see how long this is going to go on for. Is this going to be something we're talking about for years? This sort of lawsuit? Yeah.
I mean,
well, if like you're saying, Ash, if Activision Blizzard refuses to kind of take responsibility, I do think we may end up talking about it for as long as they continue to do that, because this is probably the biggest, most high profile version of this story in the industry. Not to say that it's the only place where it's happening, but it's all the other places where it's probably happening and they haven't been able to come out and say anything yet are probably looking at this and saying yes, please do something there, because maybe that'll mean we can do something here.
Right.
So there's probably a lot of energy put into hoping this gets resolved in a meaningful way. And the more Activision Blizzard pushes back against it, I do think things will continue to decay, and we're kind of seeing it.
Right. I mean, if it decays, that's all right. If they really went down the drain because they just keep refusing stuff, because at that point, if it just kept going on for years, I probably wouldn't buy any other Activision Blizzard thing either. Myself would be like, okay, this is still going on. Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna redact Activision Blizzard out of my mind. Just put the nice little black bars over. It's what? Who made that again? I don't know. What game was that? Whatever. Just move on with life. But yeah, no, this. If they really just keep going with not accepting what everything that happened, coming out straightforward and just be hey, this is what happened. We know this is what happened. This is what we're gonna do about it, and actually do it. They failed. They deserve it. So whatever. At that point, hey, I just feel bad for the people who were not involved and are out of a job. Hopefully, if that were to really happen. Don't think so, just because I know people will keep buying the games. They're too big titles for them not to keep buying, but I don't know. Maybe people will just start leaving and going to other places until their culture gets better. That might be the only other thing, is if their employees really just I'm leaving, and they end up with little.
That could be a real possibility.
Right. It's oh wow, we lost half of our workforce. We can't make anything. It's going to take, we can't pull out a Call of Duty every year now. It's going to take 3 years to put out another Call of Duty.
Yeah, and if they have enough of those people going and getting snatched up by other companies, then you're going to start having competing games that are just as good as Call of Duty. So you're not, the best and biggest game in town anymore, because you can't keep the people there who are making that game for you.
Yeah, you looked at even that happened, 10 years ago or so with Respawn. Respawn, stemmed right from Infinity War, and then they started creating Titanfall and Apex Legends, which were games sort of positioned directly after Call of Duty games.
I didn't realize that Titanfall was a good game until I tried it.
That's usually how it works.
Fucking rules.
Yeah, I played Titanfall 1 a little bit. Oh, this is cool, but I didn't get into it. And then I tried Titanfall 2. I was oh, this is really good. You could tell they really tried to make their game better. Crazy thought, put in some effort. It's weird. Don't see that often. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. No 45 minutes.
I'm quite loud and clipping a bit. Okay. I can tone myself down a little bit.
Gosh,
sorry.
darn it.
I thought Lampy was calling you Clippy. Like Clippy, the little paperclip.
How dare you, Lampy?
Wow, you just really dated everyone. Good thing I only saw Clippy on my neighbor's computer, so I don't feel old.
Straight up child. That's why you eat
right.
noodles in the morning.
That's
It's a
I told you I eat like I'm in college right now.
But we'll move off of the Activision Blizzard stuff. That's just our short update. But we'll move into our next topic, our first topic, really. Disney Plus basically get into the world of anime, the world of Korean dramas. They got a bunch of like live action shows, documentaries, and animation that's supposed to appeal to essentially like the East, like the Asian and Pacific cultures and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I want to say, I forget. There's one series that's basically an adaptation, I think, of a manga or something like that, starring like some K-pop guy, Kang Daniel.
Mm-hmm. And I think there was one that's about that's stemming from a mobile game too, like Twisted Wonderland. I think that's like a mobile game. I don't know if it's a manga too, but I know it's a mobile game.
Hold on, I'm pulling up the thing right now. Yeah, there's a lot of shows on here, most of which are live action.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually very interested to see anime with a Disney budget behind it. I am actually very interested to see what that looks like. If only there was a trailer of sorts that like potentially showed off a little bit of that.
Yeah, that would have been nice to see.
I would have watched that. Yeah.
Honey Money screaming weeb shit in the chat.
This is how it starts. But yeah, the Japanese specific animation thing is based on a title called Summertime Rendering, which apparently is a Shonen Jump series, which has like 130 million page views, it says here in this article. So my question, especially off the heels of Star Wars Visions, which is an instance of Disney talking to a bunch of very high profile animation houses and saying, hey, make something for us. And it coming out relatively cool and okay. Like, does this excite you? Or is it scary because Disney, being kind of this media monolith, is possibly going to homogenize another aspect of the media you consume? Like, they're going to kind of Disney-fy a big section of anime, like they've done with like movies.
I'm not
like. What are your feelings?
I'm not too worried about that, if only because Disney's almost coming to this a little bit late, and not like too late, but at a point when like anime over the past couple of years, streaming anime has just blown up. Like you have Netflix originals, you have Hulu originals, you have the Crunchyroll slot and the Ghibli slot on HBO Max. You have you have Crunchyroll and High Dive and Funimation and everything. And like, no matter which streaming service you have access to probably some incredible anime series. And then you have these, I feel like every year or two we get a movie that comes out like Weathering with You or The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, or these sort of Promare, like these really incredible experiences that...
Oh, I just watched Promare too.
Wasn't it dope?
Yes, it's exactly what I expect.
Yeah, it was very dumb. It was like
it's
a bowl
super
of sugar.
Stupid, but like just way over the top and absolutely enjoyable. I did like it.
Yeah. And yeah, so I feel like it's also just like anime as a whole. Like if you look at how big Demon Slayer was, and then part of that was because it was available on Netflix and a bunch of other services. It's shows that are just transcending sort of fans of the genre and just becoming these massive things where, I think Demon Slayer became the highest grossing foreign film in U.S. history.
Yeah,
did it really?
Like, at the box office during the pandemic. Yeah, it had the biggest opening weekend for any foreign film ever. Yeah.
Like even in Asia, didn't it like outsell the previous like highest grossing movie, which was like a Miyazaki joint? I can't remember which one.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
they're huge.
Know the dude who did Weathering with You, his previous movie before that, which I also really liked, that topped Miyazaki's films when that came out. So I was surprised to hear something top that, which is also topping Miyazaki's films again. If that's what's happening, that's crazy. Miyazaki's films can't keep getting topped like this, people. I love them too much.
Stop topping Miyazaki. What are you doing?
I think the problem was Miyazaki was those movies were coming out back when like anime was almost like niche.
Yeah.
And so I feel like everyone ends up catching I was driving in my little downtown here the other day, and like they had in the little downtown plaza they had I guess like classes and stuff could make these little like scarecrows and dress them up for Halloween. And there was one that was just the scarecrow from Howl's Moving Castle, like the little, like the little stick and everything. And I was like, oh, that's like really cool. And that's something I wouldn't, like 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen in like small ass Wisconsin, someone doing that. Whereas now I think it's just like that stuff is just like part of pop culture. And you go to like Hot Topic, you see Totoro shit everywhere, and you know, My Hero Academia.
It's more so, it's less that Disney's trying to take over anime, but anime has finally gotten big enough for Disney to take notice.
Yeah. It's impossible for them to not notice it.
They'd be dumb not to try to get in there. I'm hoping that as long as it's just Disney backed, like, you know, like it's going to be with whatever studio would have made it by themselves anyway. Disney's just funding the money and they just give them that creative freedom to do what they're supposed to do, which I would hope they would, because like, yeah, obviously Disney has animation, right? But they don't just automatically know anime just because they do their own animation movies and TV shows. I would like to think that they know that and they won't try to like do to, like at most, like, you know, I'm sure they'll have screenings of whatever they come up with, right? And they'll want to see it because I mean, you're not just going to let them go in blind. But I'm hoping that if they have changes, they're like super minute. If at most are like, hey, will an American audience get this? And then they'll be like, yes, let's show you examples of how American audiences already kind of learned the culture because they've been watching anime for this past decade. Like they get the stuff that you're looking at that might seem weird, especially like, you know, you watch your first anime for the first time back in the day, especially like when they're more slice of life and they're in school or anything like that. We start dealing with the school age kids. You're like, what is a spring festival or a summer festival? Why are all these games? They set up shops? What? This is awesome. Why can't
they're the janitors in their school?
The janitors must get paid crazy in those schools, dude. Like,
I don't think they have any. The students clean the
students clean it up. Never in America would you see us.
But Lampy in the chat says that Disney don't do creative freedom, Ash, which I in one part want to agree with, because you've seen how they've sort of even pushed like famed critically acclaimed directors out of positions because they would not play ball with what Disney wants them to do. But on the other hand, in the anime space, Star Wars Visions exists. That is in no way something Disney probably told them to do.
And
like,
Star Wars
most of that stuff doesn't make any sense.
And Visions feels like very uncompromised. Like, you know, it feels very much up to its name, where it was like these singular visions that each of these like renowned studios had, and like Trigger went full Trigger, so you know it didn't feel like they got dialed back at all. You know,
like at all. Yeah.
Side note to that, I had asked people in the Critical Zone Discord before. I was like, hey, because I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars a lot, but I've only ever seen like the newer Star Wars films, like the Disney Star Wars films. I saw the first two of those. I didn't even see the third one yet still. But point is, I do like Star Wars.
You may not want to see
you're fine.
Okay, gotcha. But the point is, I asked them like, hey, what do you guys think? How do you guys like the treatment of Disney after they, like got Star Wars? And the people in this are like, yeah, we like it. Like we feel like they're doing pretty good. Not necessarily towards the movies as much. They thought the movies were okay, but like for what was it, like the
Mandalorian?
They like Mandalorian. They like Visions. They like
the other TV series,
Star Wars Rebels,
Clone Wars,
and then the one movie.
Well, not Clone Wars.
Is it called the one?
Clone. Bad Batch.
Rogue One.
Rogue One, and they thought that Rogue One was cool. So they were like, yeah, we kind of like the direction that Disney's going. I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I will dive more deep into like Disney's Star Wars franchise that they have going and everything. So, so hopefully, they've done that. People like the Marvel movies. Casey doesn't.
It's not true.
I'm joking. Blue doesn't. But But yeah, so I don't know how much they've like poked into those things when it comes to like the directors and everything. I didn't look up anything for it, but it seems like Disney at least is starting to understand like, okay, we get some people who know what they're doing, and we just kind of let them do it for the most part. Question mark? I don't know. So I'm hoping
at least for a time, right? Like I feel like maybe at first they'll be like, hey, let's see what works, what hits the biggest, and then they'll try to just.
Then they're like, okay, now just do this well, we wanted to branch out. No, just do this. This works.
And Casey, earlier when you were referring to some high-profile cases where they didn't let a creator go hog wild, like I don't know if you were thinking of Edgar Wright and Ant-Man. Like
yeah, Edgar Wright and Ant-Man.
Yeah, and that's like a famous, they sort of, split up and everything. But then a couple years later, we got Thor Ragnarok from Taika Waititi, and that just felt like a Taika movie. So I don't know if by then it was Kevin Feige's call, and I don't know, Kevin Feige seems like he has pretty good judgment.
Maybe that was just a missed opportunity there.
And it is interesting looking at this list of stuff they have in production. Disney has with their new arm. They have collaborations with Aniplex. They have a sequel to the Tatami Galaxy, which is like one of my favorite anime from the last couple of years, and cool time travel shit. And so I'm hoping that they're just again helping fund and helping sort of give platforms to these things. And Disney wants. This isn't. I guess this isn't the live action version of it, but and this stuff was obviously clearly in the works beforehand. But you saw how big of a monolithic hit Squid Game was, and so I think people are finally realizing. And then a couple of years ago, we had Parasite winning Best Picture. I think people are finally realizing like subtitles aren't a barrier to entry. Or if subtitles are a barrier, they're a barrier that pretty much anyone can hurdle over. Yeah. And so once they start to realize that, they can realize, oh my God, we have so many territories we could be making money off of right now. Like we could be so much bigger than we currently are. So I'm cautiously optimistic about how this is going to go.
Right, yeah, same. Like I if it means that a streaming service I'm already paying for will get new content that I'm possibly into, great.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah, especially new content that isn't like Marvel and DC, which is fine because if that's what I'm paying $7 a month for, that's fine because I like that Marvel and not DC, Star Wars. Sorry, if I like the Marvel and Star Wars stuff, so I'm fine paying for that. But if I also get this other new stuff on top of like the library of classic Disney movies that I go back to every once in a while, then yeah, cool.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, we can button things up there. But speaking of things you're okay paying for. Our next topic, Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack. They hinted at it at their most recent Direct, said at a later date they would tell us what the pricing was to get you your library of N64 and Sega Genesis games. I think both with online connectivity, right? Is it the Sega stuff also has online? Or is it just the N64 stuff?
Both of them. It's like a game-by-game basis, but yeah,
okay.
They're on both of them.
Apparently this, on top of your $20 a year singular Nintendo Online plan, it adds $30 straight up dollars. So
it's $50.
$50 a year to basically have the service you already had plus N64 and Sega Genesis games with online compatibility. To me, that sounds wildly expensive for the amount of stuff they have on there and the quality of stuff they have on there, because there's not actually, I don't want to play the full library of stuff. I don't think there's a single Sega Genesis game I want to play on that, honestly. I was looking forward to mainly F-Zero X and possibly Winback just out of nostalgia. I probably won't play the entirety of Winback.
That'd be really weird if you just became like a Winback guy.
Just streaming 8 hours a day, Winback.
And playing
Winback, Winback speed runs.
Yes. So I'm gonna
that's it. $30 for that.
I'm gonna do my weird thing where I defend Nintendo for some reason. I don't think this is. I was kind of floored by the immediate backlash this got because I don't know anyone who's complaining about the $20 a year that Nintendo Online currently costs. If anything, I think a lot of folks are like, oh, $20 a year and for a bad online service, but
I think that's why.
But it has a bunch of Super Nintendo and NES games, so that's cool. And they also announced this alongside the Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer expansion. So there's like Happy Home Paradise DLC, which on its own is going to cost $25, or it's just included as a part of this $50 a year. Which
that's a very interesting aspect.
Yeah,
yes.
And to see if if Animal Crossing isn't the only thing, like maybe down the road if they had like Hyrule Warriors DLC or Pokemon DLC or something, that it would be like, oh, if you have the premium expansion pack, then it's included in there. But there's no retroactive applications of that. No.
None of the Breath of the Wild stuff or anything that's come before.
And there's also no. They didn't sort of signify that this was going to be an ongoing thing. So it could be that Animal Crossing is just a one-time only thing. So
Right.
Just to get it out the door.
Yeah, but for me personally, I have a lot of nostalgia for N64, and there's a lot of games I'm looking forward to playing. Some of the stuff they've already announced, like I'll always want to go back and play Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and I haven't played Paper Mario in a super long time, and I like the idea of Banjo-Kazooie coming to Switch. I'm stoked for. So an extra $30 a year to me, boiled down to $2.5-3 a month, isn't bad for me. And granted, money's different for everyone. So, some people are like, that $30 I could spend towards X, Y, and Z, and that's much more important. But for me personally, I don't know. It's a no-brainer, honestly.
Interesting. How about you, Ash? Like, does this appeal to you at all?
Anarchy. I am pleading for anarchy. All right, so I'm kind of in the same boat. At first, I was like, "What? That's a lot." And don't get me wrong, yeah, they'll add more Nintendo 64 games and more Sega games. Now, I emulate 64 games on my computer and on my phone.
But you own them in real life already, right?
I've owned many copies of Ocarina of Time, so I can download Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, for legal reasons, you own everything.
I'm saying that one with for some oomph. I've given Nintendo many a dollar for Ocarina of Time already, so I'm going to download it as much as I want. All right, but so I can technically already play Nintendo 64 games that I already owned on my phone, portably on the go if I want to already. So that is not even a big deal for me, honestly. But I was still actually going to pay for it just so I could play Ocarina of Time on my Switch. That's how much money I give Nintendo. So they better not ever come for me. I'm like the guy who buys Skyrim every time it gets re-released on a different platform or ported. That's me for like Legend of Zelda games. So, but yeah, so I'll do it just because I feel like it'll be a smoother experience than doing it like on my phone portably. So I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds good. But I do not like that they included the DLC because one, if you don't play Animal Crossing, or even if you had it but you just don't plan on going back to it even with that DLC, it doesn't really feel like I'm getting anything extra, like this little bonus. Not saying that I needed it. If they had made this the price, right, and they released the price without saying anything about the Animal Crossing DLC, I don't know if I would have been as like questioning about the price. I'd just be like, oh, Nintendo's hiking up the price. I figured they'd do it eventually, whatever, and I just move on. But when they throw in something that has its own standalone value of $25, especially like you were saying, excuse me, Marty, with like, are they going to be adding more stuff as stuff comes on? I kind of need that information now, because to me now I'm like, is this just the price because it includes the DLC?
Yeah.
If they're going to reveal because in the little press thing that they had, it was like Nintendo Switch Online, then Nintendo Switch Online expansion, but it said plus DLC. So I'm like, is there one that's Nintendo Switch Online expansion minus DLC?
Yeah.
Where's that one at?
And it was weird that this whole thing came during the Animal Crossing Direct. Like there wasn't we had no idea that this all of a sudden this was just a thing at the end of the Animal Crossing Direct. Like, oh, well, I guess this is their expansion pack plans.
Right.
I do think one of the things Nintendo always does a bad job is they should have sort of laid. They don't need to lay like concrete dates or anything, but they should have said, oh, and we'll be adding Nintendo 64 games every month. And we have plans for 2 pieces of DLC in 2022 that will be free with your expansion pack pass. So if you sort of just lay this down and then even say like, oh, and we have plans in the future to add more platforms to the expansion pack. Like, just, you could be very vague about it, but just sort of let people know, like, if you're buying into the service, we plan on adding to it and really like curating
stuff on the service.
Because I don't know. I assume they're going to do that, but it's Nintendo, and they're fucking awful at this stuff. So I don't know.
Because they said at that Animal Crossing Direct that DLC would be included, but they didn't say this is the only DLC that we're including.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't say going forward we'll be looking at other DLCs to put on the expansion. Like, no, like, it's super nebulous. And so that just doesn't make me feel comfortable. Right. Because I can only look at what's available right then and there. Yeah. And I have never played Animal Crossing, probably never will play Animal Crossing. So that $25 value is lost on me as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fact that, the library that they've picked out the gate isn't super huge. And yes, the possibility to expand it exists, but like you said, the vagary of it just makes it so like, what if the next thing they add is something else that I don't care about? Like I'm still paying the same amount of money every month, and you don't know if the next thing they add next month, if it's next month, is a single game or not. Like will it be a batch of games? Will it be because even then, even if it's a game I want to play, that still seems like not worth it unless that library kind of appeals to me more directly.
Yeah, and I don't know. And they have a long history of releasing real junk games every month for like Super Nintendo and NES. Like it'll always be these games I'm like, literally never heard of this, and we still don't have Earthbound or Mario RPG. Like, what is wrong with you, Nintendo?
That also brings up my last thing too. Is like, so now we're at 50, and that's with NES, SNES, and Nintendo 64 and Sega Genesis, right? So like, whenever they decide to start bringing in like the heavy hitters, which would be their previously like their retro portable consoles, you start throwing in some Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games in there. People will. I feel like that would be a big selling point too. I'm like, are they going to keep increasing this number as they add in other platforms? Because I feel like even if they never get to like GameCube games, I do feel like it'd be weird not to do like Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games in there.
Especially when the Wii U already did that. Like
right. So it's like if eventually are they gonna raise it up again? And it's like there's still GameCube after that. Wii, if they want to go that far, which would be easy. We got Joy-Cons. I know Casey hates Joy-Cons, but
they're terrible.
But they exist and they work like a Wii remote. So it's like at the same time, I'm like, when,
which was also terrible, by the way.
Oh my goodness, this man. But that's my point. I just like, are they going to keep increasing this price? Is this it? Because they can't go higher. I feel like they shouldn't go higher anyway, because Nintendo
not for what they're offering.
Yeah, I was about to say they could go higher if they started offering more, because this is still cheaper than
But how much higher? Because by the time if they really added in like all the portable stuff, not DS, I doubt they put DS games. They should, but I doubt they do it. If they went all portable stuff and then GameCube and Wii, I feel like they want to add another at least $30 for that much extra content.
I mean, at a certain point, if they do have GameCube games and Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games, I don't think $10 a month is way out of line. Especially when you compare it to like streaming services, depending on how much you play.
Right.
If you are gonna play these as much as you watch shit on Hulu, then yeah. But if not, if these are like, I don't know, if these are just sort of novelties to have chilling on your Switch home screen, then it's probably not worth the $10 a month for you.
But then go ahead, Casey.
No, I was just gonna say like they could maybe make some of that stuff a la carte. Like how they essentially have two tiers of service now, like the base one and then the one that adds the N64 stuff. If they do add like maybe GameCube and Wii stuff, maybe have that be separate and not just you have to have the previous ones in order to get that one.
They'll start having too many tiers if they like start adding more stuff down the line. It'd be nice if you could just be like, you have base tier and then you just have add-ons for your subscription, basically like, all right, so you want what packages do you want? You want 64?
Just turn it into cable.
Yeah, hey, look, I mean, I just it's like, because if they're only gonna have two tiers, because Nintendo they like to make things complicated but make it seem like it's not. Especially with naming schemes, I expect this to be called New Nintendo Switch Online, just because. But if they only have two tiers, like basic or premium, and then they keep increasing the price of premium, like, oh well, I do want to have those Game Boy Advance games and the 64. I just don't want all the rest of it. I'm not going to play that enough. But now I'm going from $20 to like for a year subscription. I'm going for like $20 to a year to like potentially like right now we're at what 50, right? So if they added in more stuff, it like what 70. I can see them adding another $20 to their yearly subscription, honestly. But I don't want to go from 20 to 70. I just want like 2 out of those like 10 platforms. So I would rather just pay like, I don't know, $5 per platform and just be like, oh, $30 for the year. I get Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance stuff, and just live my life.
Does it feel like that's where they're heading though? Like, 'cause people have been clamoring for N64 stuff for a while. because of, I guess, their past virtual console experience. Like,
Yeah.
I think that stuff was included there, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was on Wii and Wii U. Yeah,
Was there also like Game Boy stuff there? And
on Wii U
Yeah?
there were Game Boy games or Game Boy
okay,
Advance games.
so eventually people are probably gonna want that entire storefront back.
They already
in
had
some
it
capacity
before. It
for the
feels
Switch.
weird that they didn't off rip
Yeah.
to me too. I was like, I already
Right,
had a
okay.
virtual console. Just put it all there. You did it already. The work was done. I don't understand why this is
Yeah,
complicated.
it is, and I do understand the frustration that we're 4.5 years into the Switch, which is insane to me. And they haven't really improved this very much. Like the online service still isn't great, and the libraries haven't hit the games that people really want, and so I understand trepidation of being like, okay, you've had 4.5 years to write this ship and you haven't. So what's going on here, Nintendo?
Right, yeah, like it almost seems like sending them the wrong message by buying into it.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's like, you know what, like this isn't as good as it should be, and your competitors are doing much better versions of this. Like, you have no excuse. Like, there's a roadmap that's been laid out by the competition. Instead, you're choosing to do it like ass backwards and charge. Well, you guys don't feel like they're charging you too much for what they're doing, but I just feel like the lack, the lack of quality in the service doesn't justify how much they're charging for it.
Yeah.
And like in that way, like I'm just very much put off by it, even though I'm a fan and I want the stuff that they're offering. It just seems like out of protest, I should probably control myself and not buy into it. That being said, there's still a high chance I may buy into it.
Yeah. When you're like, oh shit, I do want to play F-Zero. So
Right, yeah.
And
Who am I
also,
to say
Nintendo
anything?
rarely like bumps down their prices for anything anyway. You know, I can't remember the last time Nintendo was like, oh, people are saying this is too high. Let's make it more quote unquote reasonable. So I mean, if I don't know, that's why I'm like at the end of the day, it's like either I'm gonna buy it or I'm not. This expansion, I'm going to probably not buy it. Probably.
Like that's the thing, you don't know yet.
I don't know.
Because
I'm buying this day one. Tomorrow, I'm just gonna be hanging out and win back.
I'm gonna make sure.
I've been here Marty talking about Winback. I'm like, you know what? Damn it, let me just.
I'm gonna have my emulators ready just so as soon as I get the urge, I'm like, let me just hop on my emulator here and play my already multiplayer Ocarina of Time that I can do because it's modded.
That you showed me a video of that multiplayer mod after time. That was so janky. Like they had Mega Man running around in that thing.
Oh yeah, baby.
That was hilarious. But okay, is there anything left to talk about with the Nintendo stuff, or do you want to
Anarchy.
move forward?
Anarchy. I agree.
Anarchy is left. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of anarchy, esports and FIFA are on the outs. There was some talk a little while ago that FIFA may be looking, EA may be looking to change the name of the FIFA football games. More recently, we found out the reason why. Apparently, the folks who own the FIFA title have been trying to renegotiate the amount of money that EA pays them for use of the FIFA title, to the point where over the course of every 4 years, they would be paying them an additional $1 billion.
Yeah. And also they don't want that exclusivity. They want to be able to like use
Right.
their title with other companies and stuff too.
So they're like, say, pay us more money for this title, and also the exclusivity that you pay for, we don't want that anymore. So that we can also sell it to other entities who can make us more money as well. EA's reaction to this, as you may have guessed, was F out of here. We'll just change the name if we have to. Because and honestly, I kind of agree with their stance. They're saying like, look, we kind of built up this title into this global video game phenomenon. Like, yes, it's a big soccer club thing, but the money and the fame that it enjoys as a video game franchise is because of the work we did. And for you to basically say like anything can just have that and eat off of that doesn't seem fair. And also, another great point that was raised in the article I read was EA already pays licensing to all the individual teams because like spread out all over the globe. They have like their own individual clubs and leagues. They pay for the licenses for all those things and players. The FIFA title is just the umbrella for the 4-year tournament, right?
Yeah, for the World Cup.
Right, exactly. So that's it. Like if they
Yeah.
lose that, they still have all the teams.
Yeah, it wouldn't be like Madden losing the NFL license and not being able
Right.
to like use real teams and stuff. Like FIFA, the teams are all there, so it's just literally the name FIFA and then the World Cup, which I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
I mean, well, yeah, I'm not, a big
got
football
this.
fan.
Yeah.
So,
Let
yeah.
me
I
get
don't
on
know.
there. All right. Not only am I a football/soccer and an American football and a basketball and baseball fan. Here's my thing.
You're a sporter.
I'm a sporter, but not like real life sports because I suck. But I like living out my fantasies of being the best in sports ball video games. So here's an example, right? I played 2K. I retired my character. The earliest age you can be is like 21, and when you create your character, I retired at 23. That's how good I made sure my character was. And when I retired, I met all the requirements to get into the Hall of Fame. So that's what I did.
broken.
I retired. Yeah, baby. I tore them up, but that's not the point right now. The point is that when I play these games, when I make the character, I want them to be like the best, right? So I will be honest, even though they will still have all the players and everything, and they can name it something else, but if I'm playing FIFA and I can't win the World Cup at the end in that 4-year mark, it does kind of feel weird to me because that's the big thing. Like if you're a soccer player, it'd be like, let's say if the NFL for Madden, if it wasn't for all the individual teams and the players, but you couldn't do the Super Bowl, it would feel weird. Even if they called it something else, they're like, oh yeah, it's time for
the big game. Oh, you're the big game champ this year.
You're the big game. It's like, no, I want to be.
No, that's a good point.
Super Bowl, what number are we on for the Super Bowl? Jesus Christ, I don't know. Whatever.
Oh my God, I've not watched the Super
We're in
Bowl
the
in several
50s.
years now.
Whatever. Yeah. So if I want to be Super Bowl 57
It's like
champ,
XXVL
Right. So-
II7.
Kingdom Hearts. Something. Yeah.
so I wouldn't really care about like it being called FIFA. I don't care. I actually care less if it's the real players, which is wild because that's why I say I am a virtual sports ball fan. I do like watching real plays. I like watching highlight clips. I just don't feel like watching an entire game play out. I don't have enough time for that because I like playing video games. But so I technically would care more for me anyway. Like legit football fans, I'm sure they care more about having the real players that they watch every time they watch their games and their favorite teams and stuff. I don't have all that though. I just want to live out my fantasy of being the greatest football player in the world. So I need the World Cup. I need it. That's my problem.
So do you think FIFA, the organization, that is justified in trying to ask for this pay raise because it is their name, and like the game makes a ton of money, probably largely because of like people's connection to those players and that ultimate team gambling ring that they have going on. So like maybe FIFA's like, hey, look, we want to do more FIFA related stuff. Give us some more of that money that you're making off of the name we lent you.
I think that they are doing too much because even though the World Cup is huge, right? It's every 4 years, the best of the best teams, and at least to the last knowledge I remember, football, soccer is the most popular international sport, like across the world.
Yeah, I think that's
they play
definitely
that
true.
everywhere. Every continent, somebody's playing football. So, in the World Cup, and I looked this up before we got here because I wanted to see how much the World Cup's revenue is. And the 2018 World Cup, the most recent one, was, and I say only, but that's in comparison to what they're asking for EA, was only $5.4 billion. And they're asking EA for $2 billion. Now, don't get me wrong. That's still a big difference to me. I'm sure for someone like me, it's like, oh, we're adding in an extra $3 billion. That's a lot of money, but that's 5.4. I don't know. It's like they're they're approaching the halfway mark of what they make from one of the most large sport events that happens on the planet every 4 years. And they're asking for almost approaching again that halfway
give us
mark.
like a quarter.
Yeah, give us like
something.
I'm like that's
of
what
a
we
make for the entirety of what we do.
Right.
That is
I'm
a
like,
lot.
that's a lot. So I think that 1 billion is fine. At most, if they wanted to do this like negotiation, only come in with one of the two things: we want more money, but you still get full exclusivity, or hey, we're trying to just maybe do more merch like related stuff, not necessarily give people license to do too much. We just want like merch type of situations or something like that. kind of consolidate it, but I think they're asking for too much. Yeah.
I mean, EA also, I don't think, is worried about competition in the gaming space because we just got eFootball, which was kind of
Right.
PES, reboot that came out and just was disastrous. Like the game was like so broken at launch and was just a game everyone was laughing at every screenshot and GIF and everything. So, I think almost FIFA is such this massive monolith of a game that EA is not worried about if they would have to rename it. Although I do think the name FIFA is synonymous with the game. So if they just changed it to, I don't know, Football 2022 or whatever, like whatever the
I
hell
think they were going for EA Football
Like-
FC or something.
Like
Yeah.
FC,
EA
like football
Sports
club, I
FC.
guess.
Yeah,
Football
but
Club.
I think they would need to figure out a way to like make sure that the millions and millions of people who play this game every year know this is the same
that it
game. We
changed
just
over.
changed the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that could be tough. Like anytime you have to do some sort of like a migration, you're gonna
Like a branding.
lose,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose some folks.
Yeah, look how many.
So, I don't know.
Look at we were talking about Call of Duty earlier. Look how they're like every once in a while they'd be like, "Well, this is just a new game called Modern Warfare," or it's like the same thing.
Right,
I hate
just
when
have to
horror
bring it
movies do
back.
that. Horror, like they're like, "Oh, it's coming out in January." Scream. It's the new Scream movie. It's called Scream, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Why? Just you're making this hard for me to Google."
But no, that's a really good point. Yeah, like there is power in the name, and maybe if FIFA has realized that, and I don't know, maybe they're desperate. Like I read in that article that they're trying to increase the frequency of the World Cups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanna
Like
do
from
it,
4
every
years
2
to every 2 years, and like I can't
other
imagine
stuff.
you would want to. I can't imagine you would want to do that unless you really just wanted more of the money that
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
with it, right? Like, oh, it takes too long for us to get all this money to do whatever we're doing or to pay our people, whatever their motivation is. So like they really do seem to be just grasping at every avenue to kind of like up their revenue. So like maybe they're struggling a little bit to kind of maintain what they're doing. And EA being in the video game space, who has benefited from this pandemic, like they've all been increasing revenue.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not hurting all that much, and maybe they could spare it. But I mean, who am I to say? I don't know. I mean, both sides feel like they have a bit of an argument. I don't know if I'd categorize FIFA as greedy or EA as being stingy, but they don't seem to have any. They're not seem to be making any headway, is what it seems like.
Yeah.
The fact that it's come this far.
I think they'll eventually compromise and it'll be on something less than the $1 billion figure, but still a lot. Like I almost feel like that initial we want this much money is a smart way to say like, all right, let's set the ceiling here and then we'll compromise somewhere in the middle, which is still going to be a shit ton of money.
Yeah, but it's like the fact that we got wind of how much they were asking for makes me feel like communication broke down because
Yeah,
they went and told other people like, "Hey, they were asking for this. Like we're not trying to give it to them. We'll change the name before that happens, just so that the winds of gossip can get back to the other side and have them know that they'd rather do this than that."
Also, the Winds of Gossip is what the name of Breath of the Wild 2 is. I don't know if you knew that.
I
Legend of Winds of
am
Gossip. Yeah.
Going with it. I like it.
Yeah.
That's it. You're a
Oh
smart man.
But on that note, we'll move into our final topic for the day. DC Fandom. This just happened yesterday. We got a lot of like cool news and information and whatnot. I'm not the biggest DC fan in the world, but I am a fan of just nerd shit, and there's a lot of that happening. So you guys let me know what, if anything, kind of sparked your interest. What looked really good or really excited you coming out of DC Fandom?
A lot actually excited me, to be honest. So if you want to start in the video game level, we got the two big games, which they were announced last year, I think, at DC Fandom, which is Gotham Knights, which is sort of the 4-player kind of
Like Arkham
Arkham,
like
but some more RPG mechanics. Like we saw numbers and armors and shit. And then Rocksteady's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is, Rocksteady, the Batman Arkham developers' first game since Arkham Knight in 2015, 16. Jesus, that's a long time.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, and so one thing is both of the trailers were story trailers, and I thought both the trailers were good, but ultimately, like the Gotham Knights one did really cool job of introducing the Court of Owls, which is like a really cool comic series, and sort of showing the more like darker, almost like light horror tone that the Court of Owls have. And then Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a sort of bombastic, silly, showing the tone of that game. Neither one showed gameplay, which is still like a worrisome thing. Like we saw gameplay of Gotham Knights last year, but we still haven't.
Yeah, they showed a lot of gameplay of Gotham Knights. Honestly.
Yeah. But we still haven't seen what Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is going to look like as a game, and that is a games as a service game. So,
that I didn't know.
Yeah, that one is like that. They've already said like that is the sort of Destiny-like.
So is that supposed to be multiplayer then?
Yeah,
like have they? Yeah,
4 players. Yeah. Whereas
wow.
it seems like Gotham Knights is more of like it is sort of going to have RPG elements, but it's going to be more like we were talking about Outriders. On something, I think maybe with podcast earlier this week, where Outriders felt like it was like an online game, but it wasn't actually. It was just like a kind of a single player RPG or a co-op RPG. And I think that's how Gotham Knights is going to be, whereas Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League is going to be a games of service online thingy.
Okay, like I did see the trailer for Suicide Squad. I didn't catch the new Gotham Knights one, but I had been following a lot of the gameplay from Gotham Knights prior to this.
Yeah.
And it looks just like Batman Arkham Knights, but with your friends, which I'm into. Like I like that as a concept. So I'm already kind of sold on Gotham Knights. I'm not necessarily waiting for any more info. The Suicide Squad game, though, I was very impressed with the tone they're setting. Like in those story trailers, like that looks like straight up movie quality, like cinematography, like plot lines, like the voice cast. Like, oh my god, Deborah Wilson as Amanda Waller.
I think
that is a great choice. Like she fits that role perfectly. So like I'm really excited to kind of see how that story plays out. But like you said, no gameplay was shown. But like it's Rocksteady, right? Like it's gotta be at least okay.
Yeah,
like the worst game they've made in recent years was Arkham Knight.
Yeah, and that was
I liked it
that game
a
was
lot.
gorgeous, and I think in hindsight, I even liked that game more than I did at the time. Yeah,
like a lot of people like were kind of down on it for certain aspects, but I liked that game a lot. Like I was not upset with any part of it. So yeah, I think both those are exciting, and I will probably get them as soon as I can. But
both
outside of
trailers
that,
had 2022 as dates. I definitely think Gotham Knights will be 2022. I don't think Suicide Squad is going to be 2022. I just can't see them releasing both those games in the same year. Like I could see Gotham Knights coming out next summer, but so we'll see.
Well, I mean, maybe on opposite ends of the year.
If Gotham Knights is in the spring and then Suicide Squad's in the fall.
Yeah, I think maybe that'll work.
Yeah.
But were those the only games they showed off?
Those are the only 2 big games in development, and then for me personally, the rest of the exciting stuff were a handful of movie stuff behind the scenes, and then obviously culminating in the Batman trailer. Yeah,
I did catch that at the end. That movie looks great. Robert Pattinson, good job.
In our Pat we trust. Yeah. Matt Reeves, I think it's a cool
Robert
take on the character.
Patman. Robert Patman. I actually, so I saw that Batman trailer, or I saw the Batman trailer. And so I was like, oh, this looks interesting. Okay. Just for a quick note, I didn't see the first one. I just saw this one. I didn't know there was a first one. I thought this was the first of the new Batman trailer with Robert Patman in it. So I watched this and was like, oh, okay. Oh, looks interesting. Honestly, what got me from that trailer was the very last shot that they did with after the car gets flipped upside down. And you're seeing it from his perspective, and it's upside down. You see Batman walking from the flames, and I was like, "That's a really good shot." I at that point, I was like, "I think I trust the director right now, just because of this one shot." Then I watched the first trailer, and I was like, "Okay, so I was right. This Batman does not care, and he is sick. He's tired of Gotham. This Batman looks like he's tired of Gotham and his shenanigans, and now he's ready."
This is another like early Batman story though.
Yeah, right? It's like a year. It's not an origin story, but it's like a year
funny
two.
Because he's still like he's tired of like as soon as when I watched the first trailer and he goes in on that first, I'm assuming Joker henchman just because of the face paint and everything that they had going on, but they're all watching. They're like, "Who are you supposed to be?" He just comes in, gives him a quick 2-piece combo, hits him again. He's down on the ground, continues to punch him. I was like, I think he's done, Bruce. I think he's Bruce.
Yeah, there was another shot like that in this new trailer with Catwoman, I believe is who oh my god, what is the
Zoe
actress's name?
Zoe Kravitz.
Zoe Kravitz, yeah. Like she was
forget
like
her
in the
beautiful
background
name?
watching him mercilessly beat the crap out of somebody, and you get the feeling like she's gonna be like, "Hey, can you stop?
Yeah.
Like, stop!"
Yeah, then you get
You're
those
a good
shots
guy, right?
in like the dark sewer where the two guys are just like laying into him and machine gun fire, and he's just walking towards them
Yeah.
like a fucking Terminator or Michael Myers.
He doesn't care, and I like it.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see.
Yeah,
that.
like it does seem like this is a much more unhinged Batman, which to me feels like a truer version of the character. Like he doesn't have it all together. He's not super suave. Like he's mentally suffering.
Yeah.
Like, this man has problems, and he's taking out his anger on street thugs.
Like from these trailers, like I already really like Robert Pattinson's Batman. I'm curious to see what his Bruce Wayne is like, because that's one thing I think I really liked Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne. I wasn't crazy about his Batman.
Yeah, I do think he's the worst Batman. I've So I'm curious. I just like that this movie tonally feels very different from the Burton movies, from the Snyder Batman, from the Nolan Batman.
My last quick thing too, and just because you guys point out to me that this is like not an origin story, which is good. I don't need to hear his origin anymore. But
I'm sure we'll still see his parents get fucking killed in that alley. Don't you worry.
But now that I know that this is still early, I actually, it makes more sense to me now. It's not even necessarily like you were saying, Casey. It's not tired Batman. It's literally unhinged, still dealing with trauma. This is him just now in the streets, and he's just like basically letting out all the frustration now that he can finally do it as the Batman. So that's why. So I'm almost like, is this gonna if they did they already like plan like to do more of this Batman with like Rob Pat? Have they mentioned anything like that yet?
They haven't said, but I mean everything is a potential franchise, right?
If they do, I think it'd be pretty cool to see him start out like this. It's like, oh, it's early on. And he's acting like this because of everything he went through. And now he's finally able to, dish out that vengeance, not the justice. He's here for the vengeance. And then maybe by the next movie, he has that little character growth, and then maybe starts slowly kind of turning into like the little more suave, a little less.
Gets all the vengeance out of his system.
He gets all the vengeance
now,
out. I'm like,
now he can let in a little bit of justice.
I actually like that a lot. That's some legit like character development to watch Batman go through in a movie series. Because usually it's just Batman being Batman. Not saying I don't love Batman being Batman, but I would like to see that like that almost growth, which I only feel like I get watching it's called Gotham, right? The TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that stars Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, so like the
dude from the OC?
Right, the dude from
watching little young Bruce Wayne in that show, and then you start to see him get his, at least in that show, which is obviously different from this, but you start to see him get his like, wait a minute, I have money. There was a scene where like these kids were bullying him and they were trying to get in the club or whatever, and you see him walk, he's like, I got this. And he comes back and they're like, oh, and he starts letting everybody else in. He's like, oh, I'm with him. And he's like, oh, no, you can't come in. Oh, I'll just have him. And he's like, no, I bought the club. It's my club. You can't come in. I was like, dang.
Isn't he a child in that show? I've never watched the show.
But he still got money.
But it's a children's club? Like, what is this?
Philly? It wasn't a children's club. I don't know what was going on. I don't know why they were going in there. I'm assuming that's why they couldn't get in.
You don't know the age
because they're
children.
children.
You don't know what's going on.
You're right, but I'm assuming that's why they couldn't get in, right? Because they're children. They're like, no, you can't get in. I missed the beginning part of the episode. My wife went without me because she hates me. But I came in and I saw that, and I watched him. He's like, let me talk to. Can I talk to your owner? And he basically comes like, yeah, I bought the club.
As a child, though,
instead of smoking he's like has a candy cigarette.
That'd be so great.
Drinking like a virgin daiquiri. Yeah.
But yeah, so I would like to see the change of in the movies of him going from like vengeance Batman to more toned down. All right, let me get a sense of like what is justice in Gotham and how can I help bring that type thing. So that'd be kind of cool. I like.
Also, I think it's cool to focus on. It seems like Riddler is obviously the main antagonist in here with a little bit of Colin Farrell's weird prosthetic penguin, which I'm a big fan of because those are like the Jim Carrey's Riddler. I kind of like in hindsight, but I don't think that character hasn't been done. If I never have to see the Joker in a movie again, I'm totally fine with that. Like, listen, you can just pump the brakes on the Joker for like a decade.
Joker shouldn't be the first villain that Batman goes against anyway. In like a franchise, he shouldn't be the first. Oh, come on, not any. But like if they're doing a 3-piece, he should be the one in the third movie. You know what I'm saying? If they're doing a trilogy, he should be in the third, not the first.
Yeah, well, that's fine. Work your way up to it.
Work your way up to it. And he doesn't have to be by himself either. I'm just saying, like, don't even bring him on until the end of it. For me, you can be working with somebody like the Riddler, like with Jim Carrey's Riddler.
I did like Jim Carrey's Riddler. The problem with that is he was paired with Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face, who for some reason thought that Two-Face should behave like the Riddler. Yeah. Like he was like, so goofy.
You just got two goofy weirdos here. Like they're not acting like a foil to each other. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
But so there was some debate about other Batmans in the chat. I will say Nick Cage was not Batman. Lampy was talking about him in Kick-Ass, where he played a Batman-like character. That was still better. Hitman, a better version of Batman than Christian Bale's Batman.
Oh, wow.
No, I like George Clooney's Batman is fine if you think of him as a modern take on Adam West's Batman. Everyone loves Adam West's Batman, right? If you bring that into, modern times, you get George Clooney. He was doing the job he was given, right? Christian Bale took Batman and just went, I don't know, like what the hell was that voice?
Also, the suit was terrible. Don't do the voice. Yeah, I wasn't.
Yeah, someone should have stopped him, but they were probably afraid of Christian Bale because he seems to be a little unhinged, like Batman.
Gains and loses weight way too much. He's too crazy.
Hey guys.
Yes.
Did you guys watch Adam West's Batman growing up? Were you guys watching like old school Green Hornet? Oh man,
I did not see any Green Hornet though, but I did watch a bunch of episodes.
I watched the Seth Rogen Green Hornet.
I did.
I like that movie. I like that movie.
I like that movie. So you guys watched Adam West.
What's going on with this ASMR? What's happening?
Yeah, like what are you trying to get at here?
No, I'm just saying you guys are a little old. Just in my mind, Adam West's Batman was like so long ago.
Wow. He's trying to age shame us.
We didn't watch it in the 60s. Like we weren't watching it live.
Right? Yeah, like I've seen episodes of it.
Do I gotta tap the sign that says you're allowed to know things from before you were born?
No, you don't have to. I know things from before I was born. It's okay.
Prove it.
Okay. Fudge. Oh wait, no. I used to watch Beverly Hillbillies and Green Acres. Boom. There you go.
You probably just watched the '90s reboot movie.
Nope, I watched it in black and white. They were in black and white. And I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. Mostly
you loved it. Okay.
Beverly Hillbillies was hilarious to me. I loved watching it.
I've never seen that original show, honestly.
I woke up at
Green Acres used to play on Nick at Night. I would change the channel immediately.
I watched it early in the morning before school because there was nothing else on TV early in the morning, no cartoons or anything. And I'm going through, I'm like, what is this black and white show? My dad's like, oh, it's Beverly Hillbillies. I'm like, that sounds stupid. And then I watched it and I liked it.
And it was the greatest TV show ever made.
The greatest TV show of all time.
Yeah. And that wasn't the only, but we also got a glimpse of another Batman, an old Batman, in the Flash trailer. So they're making a Flash movie with Ezra Miller, who plays him in the the Justice League and everything. Mm-hmm. And it very clearly is alluding to the Michael Keaton Batman, he's coming back. Michael Keaton's coming back to play Batman in this. And also, the rumor is Ben Affleck is coming back to play Batman in this movie. So there's all sorts of weird Flashpoint multiverse nonsense, which I'm fine with.
Have you seen the animated Flashpoint movie?
I have,
or at least read the comic that has that story.
And I've read the comic and some of the Flash TV show, which I've watched, has sort of.
Wait, did they dip into that in the Flash TV show?
They didn't dip into Flashpoint in general, but they did do the season where he was obsessed with going back to save his mom from being murdered. Yeah,
wasn't that like all the seasons?
That's every season.
He was breaking time left and right.
In like 2018 or 2019, I binged through the entire show, and looking back on it, I can't differentiate anything in that show.
The whole show is Flashpoint Paradox. It's its own rendition of Flashpoint Paradox.
Of like, I just got to run really fast, and all my problems will be solved.
Run from your problems till they are no more.
Which is funny because that actor, the CW Flash, is actually my favorite Flash.
I like him too. Grant Gustin.
Yeah, my Glee. He was on Glee. That's
yes, he was on Glee. Oh my God, yeah. I loved him on Glee.
Yes,
he's got such a pretty singing voice. I can't remember his name though. I used to watch Glee heavily.
I did not. My wife does. So I watched it with her when we first started dating. But I would like it if he had the budget of the movie Flash's suit and everything, because then I feel like he'd really kill the role with that with the actual budget behind it. Not saying he doesn't do great on the show and whatnot or whatever.
I feel like the Flash TV show definitely took a nosedive after a couple seasons. Like they really kind of ran out of ideas.
You see the lightsaber
it was really
battle?
good at the start.
You see the lightsaber?
No,
battle?
is that recent?
Yeah.
I've stopped watching it like the last couple seasons. What are they on, like season 7 now or something?
Yeah, they're deep into it.
Yeah, they're about to
Like they've been going for a
8.
while.
Yeah.
8,
They had-
god damn.
They had a lightsaber battle. It was great. They basically like channeled that lightning, and they had lightning, and the Flash had his had a yellow one, and then Kid Flash had a red one, and then what's the white evil Flash's name again? I forget right now.
Reverse Flash?
No, not Reverse Flash. I think was it Godspeed?
I don't. There's so many speedsters.
Yeah,
There's
Godspeed.
a lot.
And Godspeed had white lightning, and they're just like having a sword fight with lightning.
Yeah, that sounds really stupid.
It looks
that sounds pretty dumb. Sounds pretty dumb.
Maybe with a better budget, it at least looked better. But no, it looked very bad. I feel like there's a GIF. I'll see if it is. But you guys keep talking about Flash while I find this GIF.
No, yeah. In terms of the actual movie, Michael Keaton is supposed to be playing the Flashpoint Batman, who is actually Thomas Wayne, right? Not like Bruce Wayne. No,
I don't know if that's been. I don't think they've revealed.
they haven't like
yet.
confirmed it one way or the other. Because in the animated story, like the Batman who Flash meets when he does what he does, is Batman's father.
Yeah. So there was also rumors that they were going to cast, bring in the guy from The Walking Dead with the bat, Negan. So that guy
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah,
because he played him in Christopher Nolan's series.
No, he played him in the Snyder ones. He played Thomas Wayne in the flashbacks of Batman vs Superman.
Did he? Oh,
yeah. Because I don't know,
I'll mix
that
those up
movie,
then.
if you've never seen Batman's parents get killed, you get to watch that in that movie as well. And so it would be the idea of bringing that guy in as Thomas Wayne, which I don't think they've announced yet or even confirmed, but I thought that would be pretty cool. And I also like that guy.
that would be
as an
cool.
actor.
Yeah.
Quick side note. I found
This
a
GIF, it's
which,
very dumb. It's
very
also moving.
It's fast forward. It's fast forward from what actually happened, but it's Reverse Flash and Flash taking on Godspeed together. And as you can see,
it looks like the Power Rangers.
it does, doesn't it? And I was like,
Yeah.
why am I watching this right now? This I don't like this.
Oh man, yeah, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And notice
Also,
they
why
didn't
is
even
Reverse-
summon. They didn't even summon their lightning like Godspeed did. It came out of their hand as if it was a lightsaber just coming out from his.
Like that's not how lightning works. Even like,
No, I don't understand what's happening.
like the way they explained them throwing lightning in the first place, you have to run real fast because you got lightning all over you, and you're like gathering it up, and then you just chuck it. With this is stupid. This is dumb. I'm glad I stopped watching that show.
Casey's pissed.
That's so
he's sick
stupid.
of it now.
Like,
But yeah.
outside of like Robin, like Flash is probably like my favorite DC character. Like
nice.
I just think his power set is really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I do.
But that's dumb. They're doing my boy dirty.
Especially his lightsaber. I think that's his coolest power. Definitely his coolest power. And then we got a small looks at a bunch of other movies, sequels and original movies. So we got finally the first glimpse of Black Adam, which is the movie starring The Rock. We got the
announced a
Aquaman
bunch of
sequel.
cast people.
Yeah, a bunch of cast. The Aquaman sequel, which is just like it's crazy to me that is the highest grossing DC movie ever.
Really?
Yeah.
That made
Or at
more
least the
money
highest grossing
than the.
DCEU. At least it made more money than all the current DC ones. Maybe it didn't make as much as
So
Dark
even
Knight,
the
but-
Justice League one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it made like $1 billion.
Okay.
Wow.
Jason
And then-
Mimosa. It's not surprising. The
Bottomless
man has no
mimosas.
shirt on.
Yeah. he lost his shirt under the sea. And then
money.
Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. And the villains in that are just Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, which I'm like, hell yeah.
Wait,
Give
so
me that.
Black Adam's not going to be in that one? I didn't actually see anything.
No, Black Adam's his own movie.
But
Yeah, that's probably like some kind of origin story, right? Like
Yeah,
it's probably
that's
not
what I thought.
set the same
But I thought
time
he was
as.
going to be in the Shazam movie.
I think
wow.
it would make sense for the next movie, like set Black Adam up, do another Shazam movie, and then have a movie where they're just fucking punching each other.
Just Shazam versus Black Adam. That's what's going to be called.
Yeah,
They're
Dawn
gonna
of Justice.
Hopefully, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple.
Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, Dawn of Justice. Yeah.
But
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. I don't know. I'm mildly excited for almost all of it.
I saw a trailer for that new Aquaman cartoon. Was
Yeah.
that shown off at DC?
It was. I was not watching at that point in the stream. I kind of left for a while because they were like, "Oh, we're going to show you some Peacemaker," and I'm like, "That's fine. I don't need to see this. I'll just watch."
Apparently, that looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. It's fine. It's James Gunn doing it all, which is cool. Like I don't know. I liked Suicide Squad, so I'll watch it. John Cena. I don't know. He used to wrestle. That was cool.
He's a cool dude.
That's cool.
Like I became a John Cena fan outside of the wrestling stuff. Like seeing him do like acting or like being on that reality show Total Divas. Like
He was on Psych.
Is he?
Yeah.
But like all of those appearances made me like John Cena more so than whatever the hell his wrestling.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the hell he is supposed to be as a wrestler. Like that is like dumb.
He has a friend who's a soldier. That's John Cena's thing. His friend is a soldier.
His friend is a soldier. That's his wrestling persona.
Is that why he wears jorts?
Yeah, and
Is that why he looks like Crash
that's why he
Bandicoot?
wears camo and stuff, because his friend is a soldier of some sort. I don't know what branch in the military he's in. But I didn't watch wrestling a lot, but I remember seeing like he like have his friend there, and then his friend would like get assaulted by an enemy wrestler or whatever, and he's like, "Oh
Because
my
they hate
god,
the troops.
what happened?" And he's like, blah, 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 blah. He's like, "No, run that's the ring."
That sounds like wrestling.
You can't see me.
That's crazy. If I was listening to this as a podcast, it'd feel like I was just watching wrestling.
My new
Honey Buddies in the chat just saying, "What is happening?"
My new podcast is coming soon as I review wrestling matches.
One thing I really like about John Cena
my
is
God.
he holds the record for most Make-A-Wish Foundation grants.
Yeah.
Granted wishes.
See, like he's like a genuinely like good dude.
Yeah.
Him and The Rock just seem like two genuinely cool people. Like, I feel like if you met them, like if you're on the street, you ask for a picture of stuff, they'd be the guys who are like, "Oh yeah, sure, what's up? Yeah, no, whatever," and they'll talk to you for a little bit. Like they won't just take the picture and just keep walking. I feel like they even talk to somebody a fan who approaches them just for a quick minute before they carry on whatever important celebrity stuff you do for your day to day. I don't know, but yeah, I'm hoping Black Adam's good. You know, The Rock just had his not real rap debut, because his rap debut was a long time ago, but he was just on another rap song. But he was on a legitimate rap debut recently with Tech Nine, so that was great.
But I mean, let's be honest. Like,
was
how many
great.
people listen to Tech Nine?
Hey now, chill out, Casey.
No, I listened to the song. The song's not bad, and The Rock did his thing. Even though he did like what, like a quarter of a bar at the end. Like he wasn't even like a full 16.
Doesn't matter. It's The Rock.
Yeah, his riders. It's too much money for a full bar.
Lowest of keys.
Yeah.
I do want to bring up the fact that Milestone Comics is getting an animated feature. I think it's starring Static, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Because he's like, I think their biggest, most popular character, and they're also, and this came out some time ago, they're also getting a live action movie, I think, starring Static as well.
Yeah, produced by Michael B. Jordan.
Oh,
Not
right,
starring,
yes.
but produced
Is it
by-
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That part worries me.
You got
Because Michael B. Jordan has not produced good stuff
Yeah.
in the past.
Yeah, Michael B. dropping the ball.
Michael
look,
B. fucking up.
all I know is I love Static. I'm excited to hear this. I actually did not see that. I didn't notice that. I missed that, and I'm happy to hear it. I want more
yeah, me
Static
too.
in my life.
Yeah,
more
and
Static
there's
in my life.
HBO Max Blue Beetle movie. They
Yes.
just showed some like concept art and stuff. That's a live action one, not animated.
Yeah, that also looks promising. Like they have like tons of like Latino directors and like actors and stuff involved in it. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the person playing Blue Beetle or Jaime Reyes is the kid Miguel from Cobra Kai. Is that right?
I haven't watched Cobra Kai. I saw his interview. He just seemed really charismatic, and he seemed like super jazzed for it. So
I need to double check that. I may have made that up. But if you haven't watched Cobra Kai, watch Cobra Kai. It's a good show.
oh yeah, karate.
But is there anything else from the DC fandom that you guys want to call attention to? I can't really think of it. I know they said that there's going to be more seasons of the Titans TV show, but I've been watching that, and I'm kind of sick of that show.
Yeah, they announced another
just
season
sick
of
of
Doom
it.
Patrol,
Yeah, Doom Patrol I've heard good things about.
which I've
but
liked.
that-
Yeah,
Why are you
there's more
real
Young
quick,
Justice coming?
Why are you sick of the Titan show? What's going on?
It's just dumb. Like it started off kind of trying to. First of all, it's a lot more serious than any other version of the Titans you've seen before. Like they're trying to like make it be really dark.
It's the
Yeah.
opposite of Teen Titans Go. Okay, keep
Right.
going.
yeah, which
Very
I
much
love.
so.
Yeah,
But like they were doing well when they focused on the backstories of everyone connected to Batman. Like any of the Robins, like they're knocking it out of the park in terms of telling their stories. Any of the other heroes don't get enough attention. Like they make Raven kind of young and annoying. Starfire is very nebulous and like what her motivations are. Like she's very lost in terms of like what she wants to do. Like because her problems are like literally worlds away. And she really shouldn't be dealing with whatever's happening on Earth. Like that's not her problem.
My main thing for Starfire, I was just sad because she doesn't act like my I don't know Earth stuff Starfire. She's very
She's not like a, what is it? Born sexy yesterday is the term they use.
Because even
like
even
a full adult woman who just doesn't know anything about common sense. So like people, like mainly men around her, have to basically shepherd her, and they seem extraordinary because they are aware of the ordinary. Like that's the trope, how it works. Starfire is an example of that. This one breaks it, so I'm not that mad about that.
But it's hilarious though. Starfire literally talked about her and Robin having sex in front of everybody during a life or death thing. In one of the cartoon animation, she's like, "Right now, Robin, but we are in middle of combat." And he's like, "No, and everyone's like, "What?"
What episode of Teen Titans was that?
It wasn't the Teen Titans. They were older. They were like adults. He was like, he was 9.
Was that the animated movie one? The one that had like Damien in it, like Teen Titans versus Justice League, I think it was called.
It might have been that one. Might have been.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But yeah, it was just hilarious. I was like. He's like, no, Starfire, that's not what I'm talking about.
I don't mind the ditzy Starfire not being core to her character.
Yeah, I would like it to go somewhere in between. It doesn't have to be that bad, but I do like the moments of her just not understanding just a normal Earth thing. She's like, what are we talking about? Like, what's the? Because it's like a little comic relief thrown in there sometimes. I like it.
You know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about the Super Pets movie.
Yes.
I'm sorry. What? I didn't.
Yes.
DC League of Super Pets.
Movie?
It's a CG movie coming to theaters next May, and the voice cast is crazy. The Rock is voicing Crypto, Superdog. Keanu Reeves is voicing Batman. Mark Maron is Lex Luthor. Kevin Hart is Batman's dog. Got John Krasinski.
I don't like Kevin Hart being Batman's
Who's
dog,
making this?
I don't know. Fucking.
Like, what animation studios behind this?
Warner Animation Group. So I'm not sure.
As a kid, I liked that they had an animated TV show for Crypto the Superdog, and I actually liked it.
I remember that. Yes,
it was a good.
I never watched it though.
It was a good time as a kid.
I thought it was a dumb concept.
So Warner Animation Group was formed for the Lego Movie, and then most recently they did Space Jam 2. So that's the whole breadth of humanity right there.
Man, so they're kind of new to this. I don't know what to make of this.
They've done. They did the Scooby Doo movie that came out last year, the Tom and Jerry movie from earlier this year.
Oh man, okay.
And then the Lego. So Lego movies have been good. Everything else, not.
Yeah, Lego movies were great.
The second you said Kevin Hart is Batman's dog, though, you already lost me at that point. I'll be honest.
Yeah, he's already voiced an animal in that Secret Life of Pets movie, and those movies suck. So
I just meant because if I go based off of Crypto the Superdog TV show, Batman's dog was just like him, so he just showed justice. Like that was him. He
you don't think Kevin Hart could do that?
No, don't do that to me. No. I don't want Batman's dog to be the opposite of Bruce and just be like a comic. He better be a puppy. Batman's dog better be a puppy and not there yet.
Keanu Reeves as Bruce though. Give me that.
Yeah, I think that's actually
cool. That's cool.
a nice some lateral thinking going on there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Making him like quite wooden and humorless, and using that to great effect.
What do you mean? Are you saying Keanu Reeves is wooden and humorless?
In his acting roles, yes.
I'm gonna go rewatch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure right now. I'm watching Bill and Ted.
Joke that he makes in
every moment in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is Keanu Reeves being hilarious to me, but I'm also a child, so
I need to rewatch Bill and Ted stuff honestly, because I actually did really like those movies and forgot most of what happened.
I haven't watched the new one. I'm gonna watch that today. Actually.
The new one's really good actually. I like.
Yes, bro. All right, good. Don't let me down.
Ash got stoked.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess we'll wrap things up. Ash, why don't you let folks know what it is you'll be doing throughout the week and where they can find your content?
You can find me at Ash Redux anywhere. What am I streaming this week? Well, I I just bought Fuser, and I might do a whole stream where no matter what, it won't matter because Twitch is gonna like mute
They're
it.
gonna ban it.
They're gonna mute the fuck out of it. But I would
commit all sorts of violations on
all
that
of
stream.
it. They have a streamer friendly version of Fuser. Like you can choose streamer friendly, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this is. I don't want to mix this.
Yeah, all the songs probably suck.
It's just like elevator
That's why it's
music.
true.
Yeah.
But
like kids bop covers of everything.
Bunch of music.
music. But no, this week I am probably going to stream some Tales of Arise again. Get some more of that in there.
How far are you into that? How are you liking that game?
Marty, I'm not far at all.
Oh God, you're doing the ASMR thing again.
Marty, listen, I did the stream when it came out. I was very excited, and I played for like 3 hours that day, and I haven't touched it since the game came out. I'm pretty sure that was 2 months ago. I'm very depressed. I'm not far.
Okay, I'm not judge. I'm not here to judge.
No,
I was just
I'm just saying I'm
wondering
sad.
because
No, I'm just depressed. It's not you, it's me. I really want to just play a game of Among Us with people because I haven't played that in forever. So I really am trying to get the open party. I'm putting this on this podcast right now so that people can
Ask everybody else.
No,
I'm sick of that game.
I want KC in it.
I'm tired of Among Us.
But I do want to play one stream of Among Us with people, so I'm trying to organize that for some time this upcoming week. But otherwise, going to be.
I mean, it is spooky season, so I don't know.
Season, yes, maybe some
We'll try to get
Dead
it,
by
yeah.
Daylight too.
No, absolutely not.
Oh my God, Casey!
Marty, you were just playing that last night, right? How'd
I
that
played
go?
it last night for the first time.
Good. Recruiting Marty.
It was fun to stream with pals. I feel like that game is not very deep at all. Holy
It's
moly. There's not a lot going on there, but it was cool to see like spooky
Actually,
monsters and.
That's not true. There's a lot of lore. Like if you actually delve into the lore, there's a lot.
Oh,
of, like actual.
I didn't mean lore. I just it didn't seem
gameplay
mechanically
wise.
deep. Every level is
not
just
deep.
like fuck with these generators and then like find a hellmouth out of here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even think to professionals. Items matter. They don't matter to me. I just run. Run fast. But I'll be doing Tales of Arise. Trying to throw in either of those sometime this week. But I'm going to try to mostly focus on Tales of Arise and the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles because I want to finish that too. So that's my week.
Nice. Cool. How about you, Marty? What do you got coming up?
Normal escapist stuff. On Friday, Casey and I started our playthrough of the original Dead Space, and so we're gonna be doing that every Friday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're playing 2 hours a week for the next month or so. And so you could check out on the main Escapist YouTube. We have our VOD of that first playthrough. A lot of good jump scares, and I think after the 2 hours, I think Casey was digging the game.
Yeah, I'm way into it now. I kind of want to see what else they throw at me because that first 2 hours was pretty interesting. Like lots of diverse gameplay, like tons of mechanics in your face, like fun enemy encounters. Like I'm digging it. I like it. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think a lot of the folks in chat have been looking forward to Nick is starting his Persona playthrough.
Yes.
Very soon.
Yeah.
We're gonna announce the date on that very soon. So
Which Persona?
Persona 5 Royal.
5.
Yeah, his
Is that
first
his first
Persona
one?
ever.
Ooh.
His first
Yes.
one ever. Yeah, and he's going full weeb shit.
Yeah, Nick is not an anime boy, but
No.
we're gonna put cat ears on him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that'll be very soon.
Link me, please, Casey. Don't forget about me. I need to
I
make sure
will.
I know.
Don't worry.
Yep,
that
that's
wraps it up for you, Marty. All right, cool. So as usual, you can catch me at CinemaGears9. If not here, check the Open Party Twitch as well, because I'm going to be over there, namely in about a couple hours for Super Smash Sunday, where we basically get real sweaty and we put our Smash Boys together. Don't take that in context. This will be like the last Smash stream before Sora is introduced to the game. So
tomorrow,
get
right?
it's tomorrow. Weirdly enough. So get your practice in now because you're gonna be facing nothing but Soras from now until the rest of Smash. So this is your last chance to play this game without that corruption in it, but it'll be fun. Outside of that, I should have a new review coming up at least some point this week, I think, for a game that I personally think was actually really good. So stay tuned for that. And otherwise, just check the Twitter and get those updates. But we'll see you guys next week, hopefully. Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.